We're back in the woods at the old Lockjaw farm. Matter of fact, Lockjaw sat right there while I worked on him. If you hadn't seen the Lockjaw series, well, after you watch this video, go to my playlist and look up Lockjaw. I believe it's 5 videos on it. Yes, sir. He's a pretty rough old truck, but we got it running and drove it out of this spot right here, and I drove it home. This week, though, we're gonna work on this old Dodge. Yes, sir. Some of y'all may have already seen this from a year or two ago. Never mind the swastika. I'll explain that here in a minute. But anyways, let's see if we can't get this old thing running and driving. The 1979 Dodge D300 Custom. Oh yeah, that means it's a dually 1 ton and it's flatbed, and that is a hydraulic lift bed. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Now about these swastikas, I think these are wrong. I believe this is supposed to go like this and down instead of this U. Well, I guess they're so dumb. Anybody that would do that is dumb anyway. But I guess they're so dumb they didn't know how to draw it. But I meant to bring some paint and paint over them. I will do that tomorrow, so just ignore them. Anyways, I deciphered the VIN. It's supposed to have a 360 4-barrel motor. Well, if I recall, it's got a 2-bubble intake, so that may not be the original motor. I'm hoping it is a 360 though, because I would like to have one of them for a future project. And I was talking to the older feller that owns this farm about it the other day, and he don't know a lot about it. I don't know why. He probably bought it either for parts or, you know, haul it off scrap. He bought a lot of stuff for that. Bought it several years ago and then waited for scrap price to go up, and, you know, he'd haul it off. Anyway, he told me he thought the people he got it from had burnt the motor up, and he said they started tearing it apart and it was missing heads. And I was like, no, sir. It's not missing heads. The only thing it's missing that I remember was the carburetor, and I think the radiator's gone. So don't really know any history about it. Don't know how long it's been sitting here, but it's been sitting a pretty good while. But like I said, it is a dump bed, and I'm trying to figure out this frame. I don't understand it. This right here, well, I don't know. We'll just have to look at it when we get it up and out of here. But that frame, I don't know. I don't understand it. It is missing 1 wheel on each side, which that ain't no big deal. We can still drive it home just like it is. He said it had ramps, or a place for ramps where you could drive a car up on it, but it ain't quite long enough for that. But it is a dump bed, and that's the main reason I want it. That and possibly a 360. The little idiots that drew these swastikas, of course, you know, they busted half the windows. If you recall, we robbed the dash and I believe this door here for the danged old Dodge. If we get the thing running and it, you know, might end up being a decent vehicle, well, we'll get all that taken care of. Right now, let's pop the hood and see what we got. Well, the Artiz, like I said, I thought I remembered it having a 2-bubble intake. It's been open. Look at all the nuts that the mices and squirrels have brought in here. They ain't gonna tell them what's down in there. We ain't gonna worry about that right now though. But it is missing the radiator too. But other than that, I think everything's pretty much here, other than the cover, or I guess that's where the blower motor went on that heater box. I did recently grab a hold of that crank and it did not turn, but we'll put us a socket and breaker bar on there, see what happens. But if I can get right over here somewhere, that's where your casting numbers are going to be, tell you if it's a 360, 318, whatever. Let me see if I can find that real quick, because I'm really curious if this is a 360 or not. I'm going to stick my camera down in here. Let's just see what we see. Do we have a 360 or not? Right there's the number. Oh yeah, look at there. Those last 3 digits, 360. Oh yeah, we got us a 360. When I deciphered the VIN, it said 4V, and I'm assuming that means 4-barrel. So why in the world would they put a 2 bubble on it? I do not know. Anyways, let me get my stuff out and let's see if this thing will turn over or not. Well, I didn't have a socket big enough in my set. Oh, it just went up to 1 1/8 inch, so I had to go to the older feller's house and borrow that socket that I just dropped. And his ratchet and extension. Where did that go? I found it, I found it. Let's see if it's going to move or not. I'm going to say no. And I would be correct. All I'm doing is tightening the bolt. Tightening the bolt. Oh, look at here. Well, I will be. That fella there is turning over. It sure is. It may be in gear. Let me make sure it ain't. 'Twas in gear. 'Tis no more. Let's see if I can get this thing turned over a full 360 degrees. Well, we just stopped. Could be a valve, could be a rust spot. Yes, sir, she ain't moving no more. Let me see if I go back the other way. Yeah, it went back the other way. Let's see if it'll keep going that way. Alright, I've hit the same spot, I do believe. Tell you what we'll do. The usual. Pull the valve covers, pick on the valves, see if any of them are stuck down. But this is a mess. I didn't bring my vacuum, so let me go get my vacuum, clean all these acorn or hickory nuts, whatever they are. Get them out of the way. Well, I just went and got my vacuum, and I meant to bring my little saw so I cut all these little saplings down out of the way, and of course I forgot it. But when I went to his house to get that big 1 1/4 inch socket, he drove me back because I walked to his house. And we pulled up here. He said, take that lawnmower right there. I think I will. Well, I like the front end on it. Yes, sir, it looks pretty neat. Looks like an old tractor. It's a Bolin's H11 XL. Oh, yeah. Might put a V8 on it. Hey, you never know. It's got the stripers on it to stripe your yard as you're mowing. Yeah, we'll put a 283 on there and I'll mow my yard in about 5 minutes. Sure enough. Anyway, well, let me show y'all this too. Firstly, see how the windshield's all busted? Well, there's the rock that they threw through the window. So we might have some forensics done on that, get some fingerprints and see who did it. But also it's got an under dash air conditioning unit. Oh yeah, that's pretty neat. Let's get this intake vacuumed so I can get them valve covers off, and we'll see if we got any valves stuck. I got all that cleaned out of the way, and it looks mucho betero. Let's see if we can get these valve covers off of here. Alright, let us see what we see. I see lots and lots of rust. Oh yeah. Them rocker arms are extremely rusty. Goodness gracious. I never did check the oil either. Let's see if it's got any in it. Well, the whole dipstick tube and all came with it. But according to that, it's got some. Yep. So that's good. Now I got to figure out where this came out of and get it back in the hole. I think that's it right there. Maybe not. Yeah, it's going. Alright, we'll have to work on that. That's got a hole in it. Looks like it was rubbing something. So that's good. Anyway, we'll work on that later. But yes, sir, the rocker arms are quite rusty. Let me vacuum some of that out because that is pretty nasty. It's just the upper side of them that's rusted. It's kind of strange. Anyway, let me get a hammer. We'll peck on them rockers and see if they move. All right. That one's good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think it's good. Yep. 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 All right, so I don't think we got no stuck valves over here. Let me get this side off and I'll check them too. Well, I forgot to hit record on the camera, but it's the same things over there. Whole lots of rust. All the rocker arms, I done vacuumed them and I done pecked on them with a hammer. Wasn't none of them stuck. So that means we probably just got a bunch of rust in one of the cylinders. Got it bound up. So what I'm gonna do is pull the plugs. I got some coil of oil in the truck and I'll spray each cylinder down with that and we'll rock her back and forth. Try to get it broke free through that, whatever it is, most likely rust. But let me explain to some of y'all why I do this. Instead of just rearing on the crank, you know, if it is a stuck valve, rearing on the crank and trying to push the piston up to make the valve pop up. The reason why, these valves are canted. They're not straight in line with the piston. If they were straight in line with the piston, yeah, you could probably force it up real easy with the piston, but they're at an angle. If you get very rough, you're liable to bend a valve, and I do not want to do that. So that's why I do this. Make sure none of them are stuck, and then we move on from there. So let me pull the plugs out, and we'll get some coil of oil in it. Let's get these here pluggages out of this here motor very quick like. And there wasn't even tight. Oh no, it sure wasn't. All right, looks very good. Ain't burning rich, ain't burning the earls. That's awesome. Let's check one more. This might actually turn out to be a halfway decent motor. Well, it's got a little bit of green on it from corrosion. Yep. But it ain't burning earls or nothing like that. These got crap on them, so let me vac them out around them before I get all that down in the cylinder. Alright, what we got? What we got? What we got? It's a little bit of green. Yep, a little bit of green. I tell me moisture's been in the cylinders, you know, just from humidity. I don't think it got rain in or nothing. This ratchet is gonna get slung through the woods because it won't ratchet. If it won't ratchet, I ain't got no use for it. That one there looks pretty good. So evidently, what would this be? 4 and 6 may have had a valve, you know, like exhaust valve or intake valve open. Moisture got down in there and made them turn green. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. A little bit of green. Let me pull this other side out, see what it looks like. Here's the plugs from the driver's side, and none of them are green. And we do not have an oil burner. No, sir. The plugs look really good, actually, as far as mixture and all that. So, yeah, like I said, we might have a decent motor. These two middle ones over here, you know, they were green. Let me find one of them. See that green on the tip there? Oh yeah, it's corrosion. They're probably our problem child. So we're gonna hit all of them with some coil of oil. And then I'm gonna get on the crank again, rock her back and forth. Maybe we can get them cleaned out. And then I brought a battery and I would like to at least see if the starter's gonna turn it over. Take that, Mr. Rust. All right, let me get my big old socket. Will it or won't it? Not that way. Go back the other way. Come on, man. There's the hard spot again. Oh, it's moving on through it just a little bit. Come on, man. There she goes. Yes, sir, we just broke through it. Awesome. That scraping you hear is the water pump up here. Unbolted it because it was in my way. So it's just scraping on the pulley water pump. By George, I think we got it. All right, let me see if I can hook a battery up. I just want to see if the starter will work. It may not. If it don't, then well, we'll have to take it off. Oh yeah! This thing has got a really small negative battery cable. It's really small. All right, let's see if we get any sparky sparks. I don't see nothing. So let me hook this up, and I'll have to study about what to hook up to get this thing to start or turn over. Well, I got everything hooked up and we ain't got nothing. Here is my starter thing. No, sir, ain't got nothing. Put my metry right in here. This is the wire going down to the solenoid on the starter. When I hit the button, that drops down to 9 something volts, and this wire is getting warm. So our solenoid down there is stuck. So I'm gonna try to get something down in there and peck on everything, but I'm gonna say we're probably going to pull that starter off and maybe get a new one. Let me work on it a little bit and I'll be back. You know, look here, I done woke a salamander or whatever that is up. Let me make him move. He scared me there for a minute because I thought it was a snake. Sure enough did. I reckon he's getting ready for the winter time. Getting in a hole somewhere. Well, see you later, little buddy. Don't get right there because you'll get squished. Well, my jack, it's all jacked out. That's all it'll do. As high as it'll go. That ain't high enough to get under it and get the starter out. If you recall, this messed up here a while back. I think it's the piston on that side that got stuck down. Well, I fixed it. I think whilst I was fixing it, we might have lost some fluids, and that's as high as it'll go. So I'm gonna take that home and fix it, and then we'll probably call it a day because I got a very late start today. I wasn't expecting this to, be unstuck. I thought I'd come over here. We'll see if it's stuck. It probably will be. We'll fill the cylinders, leave it for a day or two, and then come back. Well, as y'all saw, that ain't the case. But anyways, we are out of time pretty much. I'll probably go ahead and buy a new starter. We got to have some electronical ignition. It goes right there on the firewall, so I'll see about getting that. A carburetor device will get us some kind of gas tank. And I reckon after I do that, well, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Wait a minute. Let me show y'all something else. This little feller here is the neatest little contraption I believe I've ever seen. It's a reel mower. There's the reel mower part. Hooked to a whatever that is. And it's got like a bicycle frame. You sit up there and you ride it. That's pretty neat. I think I asked him about it and he told me I could have it. I'll ask him again, and we might have to get that thing running and back in shape sometime. Also, you might remember this old car is I think a 69 LTD. We flipped it over and I took the forward 9-inch rear end out from under it, and I was contemplating getting this front suspension. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm not saying it is Mustang 2, but it's made just like it, and we can use that on something. Oh yeah, the upper A arms, lower A arms, it's almost identical. It's got rear steer, and I got an idea where we can use that. I'll tell you about it later, but we may get this out of this car before this video ends too. Anyways, see y'all later. Well, I come over here to Mama's and look what we got. I guess this will go along with a little lizard I found over yonder. Little old chicken snake. I'll turn him loose in the woods. Go kill some mice, little buddy. Get on out of here. Get off my... Well, he won't let go. There you go. Get out of here. I guess it's turning cold and they're a little confused. Get on out here. Miss Daisy heard me, and here she comes around the barn. Daisy, come here. Where did she go? Come here, girl. Hey, Daisy. Psst, psst. Come here, right here. She's so dumb. Daisy. Well, she's going around that way. Let's see if we can catch her. What are you doing, girl? You crazy thing, you. How you been doing? Hmm? Say hello, everybody. Uh-oh, they're calling you. You better go on. It's Mama's neighbor's dog, in case y'all don't know. Yeah, they're hollering for her. Today's the next day, and As you can see, we are back in the woods and the leaves are starting to change. They ain't changing a lot around here, but man, on the drive over here, that up yonder's changing. It was absolutely beautiful. Yes, sir. Anyways, it's gonna be a short day today, and well, I'll just go ahead and tell you why. If you don't want to hear about my health issues, well, fast forward a little bit. You know how last year, I believe it was, I thought, you know, I got the Lyme disease stuff, and doctor put me on antibiotics, and I got over it a few days later. I had another bout with it, I think, earlier this year. Got on antibiotics, got over it a few days later. Well, in the last 2 months, it has hit me 3 times. About a day and a half ago, 2 days ago, it hit me, and it hits me within just hours. Full-blown onset. It gives me a constant headache and just severe, debilitating joint pain. It really hits my knees because, you know, they're bad anyways. It's to the point that I can't hardly walk. It's, yeah, I'm just tiptoeing. It hurts so bad. Well, I spent the last 2 days in the bed. Started on antibiotics yesterday. I feel much better today. Still hurting, but at least I can get up and walk around and work on this old truck. I don't know that it, you know, for sure is the Lyme disease stuff. I got to study on it, and I think it can flare up. You know, once you get it, you've got it, and it can flare up whenever. It's just odd that I can take antibiotics, and, you know, within a day start feeling better. Anyway, I got a brace on both knees. That's how bad it's hurting. Yes, sir. The brace is getting my pain level back to what I normally feel. So at least I can walk around a little bit and work. We ain't got a whole lot of daylight left because, well, I've spent, you know, half the day in the bed just trying to rest my joints. But when I say it's debilitating, let me tell you fellas, it's like somebody's trying to pull my knee joint apart. It's just, oh man, it's the worst feeling in the world. Plus, you know, every other joint on my body's hurt. It feels like the flu times 1,000, basically. Anyways, what I'd like to do today, we ain't got like 3 hours. I got a starter, I got electronical ignition, I got a carburetor. Maybe we got enough time to see if this thing will fire off. Probably not. I would like to get the starter on, get it turning the motor over. We'll hook the electronical ignition up, see if we get fire, put the carb on, shoot a little bit of starting fluid or something down in it, and just see what happens. Don't know if we'll have enough time to do that, but we're gonna try. Also, no, by the way, you don't see no swastika there no more. No, sir, it's gone. It disappeared. Let me show you real quickly how easy it is to get rid of that. All I do is take some old carburetor device cleaner, spray it on there, wipe it off. Spray it on there, wipe it off. You can still see a little remnant of it, but I think it's just from where the non-painted is dirtier, and, you know, give it a good wash. It may all disappear, but at least we got most of it off of there. Little morons. Anyways, let's get the starter changed out. Well, let me tell you fellas, MLS is in full force today. It sure is. I'm trying to get the starter loose. See this bolt? Well, you see my wrench just dangling? It's a ratchet wrench. Well, it quit ratcheting, and I couldn't get it off of the head of the bolt because it was hitting the starter. So I kept finagling, and it's turning by hand. It's coming out hard, but I'll get it. But the reason I'm using this instead of a ratchet is I got a cobalt set of sockets, and it's got the ratchet. You can change the head out from 1/4 to 3/8 to 1/2 inch drive. I can't get the head out of it. It's got the 1/2 inch in it, and I need the 3/8. But anyway, if MLS keeps on, we ain't gonna get nothing done. I did just get the bolt off, so that's awesome. Let me go up top and see about getting the other one, and maybe we can get this changed out. Well, I finally got it out. There's the old one. Here's a new one. I was hoping it would be a mini starter, and it is much easier to handle. But here's the solenoid wire. Of course, it won't go over that stud. I'm gonna try to waller that hole out with my pocket knife because I ain't got no drill bits here. If that don't work, well, we'll just cut or strip her back, wrap it around, tighten it up. Oh yeah. Now here's the ratchet I was telling you about. It's a cobalt. I don't even remember buying these, but they were in the back of my S10 for a while, and I put them in this truck here just for occasions like this. the heads change out. There's the half. Here's the 3/8, and then the quarter is right there. And I have threatened it with its life. I have beat it and banged it and everything else, and it will not come out. So probably what's going to happen when we get back to the house, I'm going to put this in the vise. I'm going to get the biggest Hummer I got. It will be coming out of there one way or the other. Anyways, let me get this starter put back on here. Well, the starter's changed out, and this is all I can get it to do. The solenoid down there is kicking in, and that's it. Your 12 volts to the starter motor goes down through here. This is like a little junction, and it heads on down to the starter. Unless this connection here is dirty, well, then I don't know what's going on. I did clean that other end there with my pocket knife, so that shouldn't be the issue. So let me clean that little junction right there. We'll probably clean her up here too, see what happens. Well, I took this apart and cleaned it. Took that apart and cleaned it, and it still wouldn't work. Then I got the jiggling up here, and this is so rusted that it won't tighten down on the cable. So I jammed a screwdriver down in there to tighten it up. Y'all watch this right here. Oh yeah. Tell you what I'm gonna do now. I brought my compression tester. Let's just see if we got any compression at all. Then we'll hook us up some electronical ignition and see if we got spark. Let us see what we have. 0. That's great. 0. That's great. I see a theme happening right here, fellas. You ain't never gonna start with 0 compressions. Well, I lost something. Oh, I lost this wire. A whopping 50 on one of them. Well, 1 out of 4 ain't too bad. let me check this side over here real quick. What do we got? What do we got? 0. Maybe 1. 0. I find this hard to believe. Let me just stick my finger over it and see what happens. Well, it has none. No, sir. Well, let me take a valve cover off. Let's just see if the valves look like they're moving up and down, or, well, you know, it could be a lot of acorns in there holding valves open. I don't know. I brought my camera. Let me vacuum this mess again. We'll look at the valves working up and down. Then we might stick a camera down in there in the intake and see what we see. I got this valve cover off. Got a lot of dirt down in there because I forgot to bring my battery from my vacuum. So that's good. Anyways, let's turn it over, see what we got. I mean, they're all moving up and down. It may just be that wore out, but I kind of doubt it. Let's get the camera, look down in the intake, see what we got. We might look in the cylinders too. Well, this is a terrible camera. I need one where I can bend the head like that. I'll have to look to see if I can find one tonight. I was trying to get to the actual intake port on the head, but it ain't gonna let me. But I don't see any trash. What I can see, you know, I thought it'd be full of acorns and hickory nuts. No, sir, not that I can see. I'll keep pulling with it. I might go ahead and hook up. Oh, wait a minute. We got some. What is this right here? We got some stuff here. What is that? Okay, yeah, I do see some debris. Well, I decided to look in the cylinders, and there's quite a bit of debris in them. You know, probably from that being open and the little squirrels and mices and whatever shoving nuts in the intake. And it could have the intake valves where they won't close all the way. It wouldn't take much for it not to build compression. So, what I might do is we'll probably call it a day, and then tomorrow come back with my air tank and a blow nozzle and stick it down in the intake. I'll rig me up something that'll fit over that, stick my hose to it, and blow air through it whilst I turn it over. The valves are opening up and closing. Maybe we can knock all the debris loose. Yeah, that's the only thing I know to do right now to try to get compression. But I'll tell you what, before we go, let's hook up our electronical ignition, see if we can get some sparks. Well, I got the electronical ignition hooked up, and then I touched the ballast resistor, and here it is. It just crumbled into several pieces. This side is a dual ballast resistor. That one there would probably be okay, but this one here, nope, I think it's toast. I'm not even sure, I don't know Dodge Electronicals. I'm not even sure how I'm gonna go about hot wiring it, because I don't have a key. Somebody's been wiring on it though. See, this red wire and this red wire, cheer, that goes to a push button on the dash that somebody rigged up to for the starter. Well, I'll tell you what, let's hook this wire here back up, and let me hook these wires back up. And where'd my screwdriver go? I had stuck in there. I'll get it. Let me rig this back up. Let's just see if that push button will work or not. There's the push button right there. I got everything hooked up, and hey, look at there, started working. I guess it was just corroded in there. Awesome. Okay. I do know on some Dodges, I guess this one too, you got an amp meter sits over in this vicinity. I think all power runs through it and then to the fuse box, and then gets distributed out. So, you know, we don't have that gauge, so we're gonna have to hot wire it some kind of way. Like I told you, I don't know Dodge Electronicals, and it's getting dark, plus my knees are starting to kill me. So I'm gonna go home and study how you hot wire this Dodge, and then we'll come back tomorrow, and hopefully we can get all this stuff cleared out and get some compression, and maybe we'll hear this whole thing run. I don't know. All I know is I'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, I told y'all this ratchet would come apart one way or the other. Well, here it is. Yep. Got a little rough with it, and parts went this way and that way and over there, and these are the ones I found. They were laid over here. I heard something hit the ground back here. I don't care. I mean, if it ain't gonna work, it ain't no good to me, no way. So this is what we're going to do with this. Yep. These two parts here, they can go in there. I'll just give me a regular 3/8 ratchet, because we ain't got but 3/4 inch, and then these are 3/8, these are 3/8, and then you got 3/2 inch. So I'll get a 3/8 ratchet and maybe a 3/8 adapter for these. That'll be that. But before we put this up, let us just see. Oh yeah, made in Taiwan. Well, that, I don't know if that's any better than China or not, but that's just, you know, that's quality you get out of stuff. Anyways, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Till the next day again, and yes, we're still working on this whole hunk of junk. I am moving slowly, but I would like to hear this thing at least attempt to fire off today. But it is going to be another short day. One, because I'm moving slowly. Two, I got to go to the airport, pick somebody up. I guess Uber is my second job. I don't know. But here's the plan. This air tank and this blow nozzle is going to allow us to try to blow the crud out of the intake around the valves, if there's any there. I got to fix the sparking plug wire because I tore one up. Just went to Ireland and got my, what's that called? Ballast resistor, and then there's a print that I studied to figure out how to hot wire it. Pretty simple. I'll show you that in a little bit. Before we do any of this though, we're going to use this apparatus right here. I forgot I had it. It's another camera, and we'll watch that end right there. Oh yeah, it'll do well, a little more than a 90. I forgot I had it. My handy dandy assistant gave it to me, and I don't use it because the camera quality is just really terrible. Yep. But we're gonna stick that in each cylinder, curl it up, and hopefully see the intake valve and see if there's any crud around it. If so, we'll take our air tank and our blow nozzle, blow that stuff out, and hopefully get some compression on these cylinders. All right, let's see what we got right here. Well, I don't see nothing. The light, that may be what was wrong with it. The light ain't strong enough, because I don't see nothing until I'm right up on the piston or whatever I'm looking at. Yeah, that's the issue with this one here. Yep, I can't see nothing. No, I couldn't tell you what I'm looking at right there. It don't zoom out enough. Nope. It surely don't. Let me try this here. That ain't doing nothing. Yeah, I ain't got a clue what I'm looking at. I do see a bunch of trash there. Well, that's not gonna work. Let's stick it down to the intake. Maybe we'll see something there. All right, can we see anything down the intake? Probably not, but I'm gonna give her the old try. It's just dark. The light on this camera just ain't enough. Yeah, oh well, let's just go ahead and blow it out with air whilst I'm spinning it over and see if that don't help. Well, I have no clue if this is going to help us or not, but we got to try something. So let me turn it over while I blow air through it. Yeah, I blew a lot of stuff right there. I'm quickly running out of air. I'll tell you what, let me do it at each individual cylinder and see what that does too. That might help us out. Then we'll check compression, see if we got any. I'm gonna try to curl it up a little bit, so maybe we can hit the intake valve right here. There we go. It's blowing the stuff out of the cylinder at least, and hit me in the face with it. Yep. Goodness gracious. Well, I just did another compression check, and yesterday we only had one over here that was just barely moving the needle. I mean, like to maybe 5 psi. Well, now we got 3 barely moving it to about 5 psi. This side over here we had one, I believe it was 1.3 number 5, that was hitting about 50 psi. Well, now it has nothing. Well, it may be barely moving the needle, so we've done something. But I really need to know, is it valves? Is there something stuck in the valves, or is it actually rings? Are the rings seized to the piston and we got to get them loose? I forgot that this camera, where's it at? It has an attachment that you know, it's a mirror, and I think it's like a 90 degree. If I put that on there, then that might allow us to see the valve. Stick it in there and curl it up and see the valve, see if there's any trash around it. I'm gonna go to the house and get that. We're gonna try that, because I gotta know what to work on. You know, if I think it's trash in the valves, but it's actually rings, well, I'm working on the wrong problem. So I'm gonna run to the house and get that, and we'll look in the cylinders one more time, see if we can see the valve. Also, and oh, by the way, I want y'all to look at this right here. No more than I've been turning this thing over, we got Earl up here at the top end already. That is awesome. Remember, on the Fairmont, it took forever to get it to start, but once it did, it started every time, and I told y'all that seems to happen a lot. Not with just my stuff, but other people doing Will It Runs. And I told y'all, I think it's due to the lifters not being pumped up with oil, therefore the valves ain't opening very much, and it just ain't gonna run like that. Well, I'll tell you what, let me turn it over, and through the magic of video editing, I'll show you yesterday how much the valves were moving, and I'll show you right now how much more they're moving. I'll go ahead and show y'all right here the valve movement from yesterday, and it ain't moving very much, no sir. Now, let's look at today's and see how much more that is moving. Quite a bit more. Oh yes sir, sure is. Well, let me just show you what I rigged up yesterday, if I can find it over here in the truck. Here it is. I was going to start from now on, whether it's Dodge, Ford, Chevrolet, whatever. Go ahead and run the oiling system, prime it up, and get oil up here to the top, you know, get the lifters pumped up. Well, this is a Dodge. Dodge uses a hex shaft to turn the oil pump. Well, here it is right here. I went to Lowe's yesterday and bought a paint stirrer, paint mixer, whatever you want to call it. It's 5/16 hex. I just cut the mixer off, and here's my shaft. Put your drill on it, stick it down in the hole, turn the oil pump till you get Earl up here, and there you go. Ford uses a hex shaft, but I'm not sure if it's 5/16 or quarter. I'll have to measure the old 351 sometime and see. If it's quarter, then I'll find a quarter. If it's 5/16, well, I've already got it. And then, of course, Chevrolet, I've already got one for that. But yes, sir, from now on, I think that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be interesting to see if we get good compression. It's going to be interesting to see if this thing fires up pretty quick after we, get everything right. Anyways, let me run to the house. I'll get that little mirror for the camera. I'll be right back, and we'll look in the cylinders one more time. Well, I'm back at the shop to get that little 90-degree mirror piece for the camera. And, well, look what I got here. I swear, I don't know what it is about me and animals hurt animals, but I was coming home, and this fella was in the road, and I saw him flip over, and I figured he probably got hit, and he was dead. Well, I got out, and he was still barely moving. Eyes were closed, but he was barely breathing. Well, about, I don't know, a minute or two later, he finally perked up, and he's moving his head. His eyes are open and all that, but his legs are, I don't know if they're messed up or he don't really want to move them. His toes are curled up. So I'm gonna call the animal rescue. What's it called? Walden's Puddle. Let me call him, see what they want to do with him. Hopefully he'll be okay, but if they want me to bring it to him, I guess that's what we'll do the rest of the afternoon. Y'all look here. Whilst I was on the phone or trying to get a hold to somebody at Walden's Puddle, little fella stood up. What in the world? I guess he just got rattled pretty good. I'm gonna put him somewhere in a box for a little while, let him rest, and then I guess I'll turn him loose. He seems to be okay, hopefully. Anyways, I'll keep y'all updated on him. Let me go get that little mirror and we'll head back to the woods. Well, it's been 15-20 minutes. He's been sitting right here. Well, all of a sudden I made a move and he spread his wings out looking at me like he could kill me, and then he hopped over there. I reckon the feller's okay. I believe he's fixing to fly. Yep, there he goes right there. I believe the little feller's gonna be okay. All right, well, we'll see you later, little buddy. Try not to get hit anymore, you big dummy. Well, the little feller flew from right there to the big oak tree, sat there a few minutes, and then flew on over yonder to a pine tree somewhere, so I guess he'll be okay. I found my little attachment. It says 70-degree on it, but see that little mirror there? You screw that on to the end of the camera, and then that'll let you see behind you. Let's go back to the woods and see what we can see. And I'm taking some oil too. Might pour that down in the cylinders. Well, I'll explain that more here in just a minute. Well, I got our little mirror attachment on there, and when I pulled this off, this is what was on there. It revealed another little bitty LED. See that yellow right there? Yep. This piece here's got a hole in it for that, so that's awesome. Maybe that'll help us see a little bit better. Let's see if this thing's going to work and show us the valves. All right, let us see what we see with our little camera. Trying to keep it straight up and down. I have no clue what I'm looking at because the lighting is still just absolutely terrible. I think I'm looking at the cylinder wall there. Well, now that might be a valve. Yep. Okay, look at here. Oh, yeah. I see the valve. There is trash. Oh, yeah. Sure enough. All right, I'll tell you what. Let me look in another one. And I bet you money we'll see probably the same thing. There's a valve there. Again, the lighting is terrible. I don't see anything around that one, but again, I can't really see it real good. Let me check all of them and see what we got. But that very well could be what we got going on. It's trash in the valve. There's one there. I can't see all the way around it. Anyways, let me look at the rest of them. And then we may do an oil test here in just a minute. Well, I stuck the camera in all 8 cylinders, and it's hard to get it angled just right where you can see the intake valve. But I did see, I believe it was 3. I did distinctly see trash in between the valve and the seat. So that's most likely what our issue is. But just as another test, let's put some Earl in a couple of cylinders and see if that brings compression back. The reason I didn't do that at first is, one, I was pretty sure it was going to be trash around the valves. 2, if you recall on the Fairmont, I poured oil down the cylinders and it made that car smoke like a freight train once we got it running. Trying to avoid that. You know, that's normally what I would do. But anyways, let's do it on a couple of cylinders and just see what happens. Let's do, what is this, cylinder 2. We'll put a wee bit in it and see if the compression comes back or not. Ooh, that's probably a little too much, but it'll be all right. All right, let me get my compression checker. Did this help us or no? Well, it brought it to 75, so we may have a mixture of issues. Yes, sir. Sure enough. Let me check this one next to it. See what it does. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta do that. Ooh, it is slinging Earl everywhere out of that one. Well, we're gonna have to do that on all of them. I was trying to avoid that, but yeah. We may have 2 issues, or I may just be completely wrong, and it is nothing but rings. Let's check that one again. Yep, it's sitting on about 75. All right, let's check the rest of them. I ain't gonna put as much Earl this time, but yeah, I'm liable to be wrong. You know, I do that every once in a while. All right, I'm gonna try not to drown it with too much Earl this time. That right there should be plenty to see. Let me give it a little more. All right, that should be plenty to see if we're gonna have compression or not. This is the one I first put the camera in. I did see trash around the valve. And then it was it 2 over there? I don't remember because I can't remember what I did literally 10 minutes ago. Let's check this and see if I got any compression. Well, I'm probably gonna get covered up with Earl from that first cylinder, but that's just a sacrifice I'm willing to make just to get y'all a video. Okay, that was 0 compression, so we do possibly have a mix of rings stuck to the pistons and trash around the intake valve. So let me go around to each cylinder and see what the oil does, and that'll let us know which valves possibly are, you know, acting up. Give her a little drink of the Earls, and right there should be enough. Does this one have any compressions now? No, sir. No, sirree. All right, let me do the last one on this side, see what we get. Drink up, little buddy. Do we have any compression in this one? No, sir. This is looking more and more like I was correct about the valves having trash. This is going to be hard to remedy. It really is. Let me check that side over there, and then I got to figure out what I'm going to do to fix it. Yes, sir. Now that I have made a complete mess with all this Earl, here are my findings. Of course, you know, we know over here, cylinder, what is this, 2. What did it hit? 75 with the Earls, and none of the rest did anything. Over here, none of them did anything except for number 1. It would hit about 50 psi. So it's quite possible that we have, you know, both issues, 2 issues, rings and valves. But until we get the valve situation fixed, we're not going to get any compression at all. I'm going to try to, where did my blow nozzle go? Right here. I'm going to try to bend this where I stick it barely in the spark plug, aim it toward the intake valve, and turn the motor over, and maybe we can clear it out like that. I don't know. I don't really know what else to do other than pull the heads, and I don't want to do that. So let me work on that a little bit, and I'll be back and let you know what's happened. Well, here's the deal. I don't know what's going on. Ain't got a clue, other than I'm getting soaked in Earl and little bits and pieces of acorns that's flying out of the spark plug hole. Here's what I did though. Took my little blow nozzle end and crooked it just a little bit, stick it in there and aim it towards the intake valve. Blow air while I'm turning the motor over and the valve is opening and closing, trying to blow the debris away. I did that on 3 of these over here. Well, before I did that, I checked compression again. This one, it's now at 140 psi, number 2. And then number 8 back here, I think it jumped up to 75, maybe 100. Well, then I blew in, not the first one, but the other 3 with the air. And this one dropped to 50, but then number 4 came up to 50. So, like I said, I think we got 2 issues. Trash around the valves and rings that are stuck. I have not blown any air over here. I did check compression again though. This first one has jumped up to 100. These 2 back ones are at 75 now. So, like I said, I think it's a combination of, when I turn it over, that crap is falling out of the intake runner and getting trapped in the valve, then it falls out of the way, and that's what's causing the weird reading on the compression. Really wish I could get the camera down there to see. I'm thinking about maybe trying to flush it out with diesels, pour diesel down in there while I'm turning it over. But if we hydrolock well, I don't guess we could though, because the spark plugs are out. I don't know. I got to figure out what I'm gonna do to fix this. I don't want to pull the heads, no sir. Let me ponder on it a little bit and fool with it, and I'll be back and let you know what I discover. Well, I'll spend a few minutes just turning it over and checking compression, sticking it in the hole. And it's getting better. It's blowing little bits of acorns out, so it's clearing everything out. I got 6 with decent compression and 2 are dead. This one's got 75. It keeps jumping around, so it's probably due to trash around the valve. This one here's dead. This one is at, I believe, 125. This one is about 140, 150. This first one over here is about 130. This second one, which would be number 3, is dead. 5 and 7 have about 100, 125. So we got 6 out of 8. That's not bad. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put our ballast resistor over and hot wire it so we get spark. Put the carb on there and let's just see what it does. All right, here's the ballast resistor. As you can see, it's a dual resistor. According to this print, all I gotta do is put power on both of the bottom. They're both red wires. It's a red and green up here, and that'll supply power to the whole ignition system. One side goes to the coil, one side goes to one of the prongs on the electronic ignition thing, and that's pretty much it. So let's let me get that on there and get it wired up, and fingers crossed that we're gonna have sparky spark. Had to go to the house and get a coil. That's the one off of Dumas. And I cannot get spark. No sir, I've checked. I'm getting voltage everywhere I'm supposed to, getting 12 volts at the coil, 12 volts fed to our new ignition box over there, and it still won't spark. I took this wire loose and scratched it on the post there, and that should produce a spark. No sir, it won't. That tells me that it's possible that we're not getting our ground through our box. I know I've got it grounded to the firewall good. That could be an issue, but I'm out of time. Yep, I got to go do my second job of being a limo driving Ubering person. I gotta go pick somebody up at the airport. This is Saturday though, so we won't see you till Monday, because tomorrow's Sunday. Sunday's day rest. That's what I plan on doing. I really hope you do the same. I'll see y'all Monday. I want y'all to look at this. Would you just look at this? Oh yeah, we got some sparky spark. And I'm not going to tell you everything I've done in the last couple hours trying to figure out why we ain't getting spark, why we wasn't getting spark. Let's just say I'm a Dumas. That's about the only way to describe it. Remember when I hooked up the ballast resistor right here? Well, I hot wired it. I got 12 volts coming from the battery, hot wired to the bottom of the ballast resistor right there. And then it goes through the resistor, through these wires to send power to the coil. And if this was a 5-prong ignition module, it would send power to one of those prongs. That's what I was measuring. I thought I was getting 12 volts down there. No sir, I was measuring that, but this is a 4-prong module, so yeah, it wasn't getting no power is what it was. What I had to do is it gets its main power when it's running from this here, and I did not have that plugged in. So when you plug this in down here, just like that right there, well, you get sparky spark. Yep, sure do. Anyways, let me get a carb on it, get the plugs back in it. I got to fix the spark plug wire. We'll put some gasolines down it. We'll give her the old try. Well, we got another roadblock. This carb right here, it don't fit. This came off of a Dodge 318 or Dodge small block intake that somebody gave me. This, we've had that on the danged old Dodge before. So, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't have a carb to fit, because if this fits the danged old Dodge, then the danged old Dodge carb ain't gonna fit here, because this don't fit here. Let me go to the shop and see if I can find a carb that'll fit this gasket. This is the one that was on this motor. Here's the one that fits this carb. Well, as you can see, they are not the same. No, sir. Are they the same this way? Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, let me head back to the shop and see what I can round up. Well, I do believe I found a carbonator. That's what the older gentleman that owns this land, he calls it a carbonator. So I've been calling it that here lately. Anyway, I discovered that a Rochester 2-jet, you know, they have a large base and a small base. The small base is what we've got on the Forte, the 3-deuce manifold. This one here is a large base, and that is what's going to fit this Dodge. I started looking at that because, you know, the danged old Dodge, if you recall, if you've seen those videos, we was working on it one time and I swapped the carb. They take a Carter, is it a BBD? I think that's what they call it. Well, I found out that a Rochester 2-jet, the small base, will fit the small base carbs on the Dodge. And I guess because this is a 360 and needs a little bigger carb, so therefore it's going to take the large base Rochester 2-jet. Anyways, let me get this put on there. I know nothing about it. One of y'all sent me this along with 2 other carbs. As far as I know, it might not even have a float in it. I don't know. We're going to give her the old try though and see what it does. Well, I got the carburetor device on, got all the plugs on, got all the wires hooked up. I got gas running to the carb. Either there's no fuel flowing in it or the needle is actually holding. Oh yeah. But we don't have any acceleratory device. No, it's doing nothing. Maybe it'll start working after a while. You know, the little cup, it might get loosened up, and I don't know. What I'm fixing to do is put y'all on the stand. We're gonna see if this old hunk of junk will try to fire up. Well, I gave her a little drink of Gascolines, so I think we'll give her a drink of carb cleaner. Maybe that'll help us out too. All right, fire in the hole. You ain't turning over real fast. Nope. Give her a bunch. Wait a minute. It might help if I find the coil wire and plug it in. Yep, I guess it got unplugged. All right, well, let's try her again. Now that we're gonna get fire. Lots of blowback. It will almost idle. It probably would if I turned the idle up. What is that hissing? I don't know what the hissing is. Oh, it's probably the vacuum on the vacuum booster. But yes, sir, that is pretty doggone awesome. It's missing. You remember we got 2 dead cylinders. But yes, sir, that is pretty doggone awesome. Y'all listen to that. It's sitting here idling at probably 500-600 RPM. And it's been sitting here dead for, I'm gonna say at least 20 years. Yep, pretty doggone amazing. I hear a little noise. It may be something rubbing one of these pulleys. That's sort of what it sounds like. And got a terrible blow by, yes sir. Probably gonna need a rebuild, but yes, this is pretty doggone awesome. I'm about as tickled as you can be. Yes sir. I mean, the sucker fired right up as soon as I hit the key. That just goes to show you fellers. Remember what I told you a few weeks ago. I think the reason why a lot of these wheel it runs takes forever to get running, the dad blame lifters ain't pumped up. We know these were because we were getting oil up here on the rockers. Yes sir. So from now on, if I do a wheel it run, we're gonna pump the oil system up. Oh yeah, pump them lifters up. I bet they'll fire right up every time. Well, I'm very glad to finally hear this thing running. I'm just, yeah, that thing fired right up. I'm telling y'all, it's the lifters. It sure is. Here's the deal. I'm out of time, and we ain't done with this truck, no sir. Well, if you don't want to hear about my health issues, go ahead and click off and be gone. If you stick around, that's awesome. What I want to tell you is my knees, they're shot. Well, my left knee is the one that's been giving me all the trouble for a year and a half. Right knee, been great. Well, in the last month, my right knee, it started getting pretty bad. Within a couple weeks, it's worse than my left knee, and it's excruciating pain. It really is. About 4 hours a day is all I can stand to be on my feet right now. I've been over here about 4 or 5 hours, and let me tell you fellas, it's hurting pretty bad. I said all that to say this. With my knees being like that and not being able to be on my feet all that long, the content, it may suffer a little bit. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I'm going to try to continue to do an hour-long video every week, but not being able to work very long, they may be shortened up a little bit until I get my knees fixed. I'm going to try to get to the doctor and get some MRIs on my knees and see what's going on. But until then, I just got to do what I got to do. But next week, we will drive this truck out of here one way or the other. Oh yeah, be looking for that. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, hit the like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. And until next time, go do something. Blur, blur.